Well, it's the last trading day for the week, but it is the first trading session for the new month of February at the Nigerian stock market. Well, at intraday, the market was up 0.43%. Well, let's find out what has changed at the moment. Let's join Temple Ashaju at the exchange. Hello, Temple. Good afternoon. We saw a rebound of about 0.43% as at midday. Just wondering if that is still there now. Is there any improvement, or the market has started lagging again?
I think we should just say we still have that kind of sentiment in the market. The appetite of investors is still right here. We've got them buying me more on the banking names and, of course, the consumer goods name. Right now, the indices is doing some 0.28% in a positive direction in the market. And we've seen more interest across these two key sectors that I mentioned, the banking names and, of course, the consumer goods. And if you go by the companies or stocks that have done well so far, you've got Unilever doing some 5.71%. You've also got Zenith Bank and Custodian Insurance in the financial services sector. You have Royal Exchange as well. But if you look at the top trade segment of the market, you've got only the banking names dominating the huge volume. They are right now the volume boosters in the market. The Guaranty Trust Bank is about the most actively traded, with some 63 million units of its shares done so far, and accounting for almost 60% of the entire transactions that we've seen in the markets today. This simply means that the bulls are clawing back some of the gains in the market, and it looks like we're going to end today's trading session positively, even though we know that we've had more sessions of that are bearish, given the kind of sell down, reduction in holdings, and of course portfolio rebalancing that we've seen so far since Monday through to Thursday. Eventually, you will see that some people want to quickly mop up, some investors want to mop up this mess in the market and see how they can turn it to some gains in their favor next week. Chimeze.
Sure. So going into next week, what are the expectations, and what factors do you see driving market sentiment aside from the elections? I know that next week should be the earnings season.
Yeah, so next week we should be expecting some numbers, earnings to actually come in, because we've seen a lot of companies like Access Bank, like Axama and SAD, a lot of the financial services firms have basically concluded their audited financial statements at this point in time. Some of them have even gone as far as forwarding these earnings to their immediate regulators. If you're in the banking sector, it's gone to the central bank. So they await the central banks to then, finish up on their own part and then return it to these banks. Then they now bring it to the stock exchange, and then it becomes public. This stuff for the financial firms, the insurance names like Axama and SAD, which it looks to now forward its own audited financial statement to its immediate regulator, that's NICOM, and that's National Insurance Commission. And so after that, you see that coming into the market. I'm so positive that next week we'll start seeing some of these earnings returning to the market. UBA has also done the same thing, and so a few other companies that now have announced their closed period and are looking to have their board meetings going forward will also do the same thing going forward. However, we see more of that happening after the National Assembly and presidential election that is scheduled for this February 16, because a lot of these companies have announced their closed period after this election, the very first election, because the second one is for 2nd of March. And so when it is until the closed period ends before we then see the board meeting happening. So after the board meetings, you then expect these earnings to then start trickling into the market. But we see that happening next week, and we also see a bit of bargain hunting next week, and that should be how the market will perform next week, because again, we've seen some exits this week. Of course, it leaves room for more investors to take advantage of some of the mess that we have in the system. Chimeze.
Sure, and I'm sure you have spoken to some of the traders there. What are their stock picks for the week? Hello, Temple. I was asking, you've spoken to some of the traders. What are their stock picks for next week? Well, I guess we've lost tempo there. We sincerely apologize for that poor audio issue. Well, in South Africa, the JSE All Share Index opened this Friday at 54,014 points, down by 0.26% from the previous day's close. For update on the week's trading, our South Africa business correspondent, Natasha Piri, reports.
Following the news of South Africa's Absa CEO Maria Ramos retiring at the end of February, the shares in the bank rose 3% in early trade on Tuesday. Also, retail giant Mr Price Group recorded positive results, moving up over 2% from their slow performance at the beginning of the year, while Shoprite share prices dropped the most since 1999 after the supermarket indicated that its first half earnings had dropped by 26%, with food deflation being one of the causes. Although Vodacom's overall performance suffered a decline, they recorded stronger figures in their international group revenue. Speaking to a local publication, Business Report, the network's CEO Shamil Yusuf said a strong performance in its international operations helped to offset the slowdown in South Africa, with growth in revenue and service revenue at a group level increased by 1.5% and 2.4% respectively. Vodacom's share price closed at 5.97%, lower at 121.87 Rand on the JSE on Thursday. However, the all-share increased by 0.39% to 54,343 by the end of Thursday from 54,132 in the previous day's trading session. The rand ended January firmer at 13.33 Rand against the US dollar, 15.34 Rand against the euro, and 17.51 Rand against the pound. Seasonal data shows that it performed well amongst other emerging economies. Meanwhile, cellular giant Vodacom's share price dropped by 12% over the past 2 weeks as a result of a legal tussle with their former employee Nkosana Makate over Please Call Me invention. The network is facing massive criticism, with some subscribers threatening to boycott the company and vowing to shut down operations at the company's headquarters. From the JSE headquarters,
And that's a wrap on today's edition of the program and, of course, for the week. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwabo.